professional record of 15 victories, 13 defeats, 4 draws, and 5 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from the United Kingdom. Here is David Redford. His opponent in the blue corner, wearing the white trunks, red trim, he weighs in at 77.55 kilograms with a professional record of 100 victories, 13 defeats. He has 69 wins coming by way of knockout. El Hijo de la República de Panama and 4-time world champion. Here is Manos de Tierra, Roberto Duran. Super middleweight. So there we are, introductions over, and now this man from Britain has certainly got a task on his hands. The replacement fighter, David Radford, up against Roberto Duran. You can already tell the crowd here at the carousel backing Duran for an early victory. Carrying a little bit of weight, as would be expected, is Duran, but still they tell me pretty sharp in the gym.
And ranked number 6 in the world by the World Boxing Council, Roberto Duran, in the super middleweight division.
So Radford, probably with a record that he has, that he disputes, I might add, but he says he's had more wins than what is already on there as 15 out of the 32 fights. He's certainly going to have his hands full here.
And it's also a great opportunity for him, of course, as a young man, relatively unknown, going in the ring against a living legend. He can upset Duran here in this fight. He will certainly make a name for himself.
Probably be classified, and I hope he doesn't mind me using the expression, as a journeyman boxer. Is how you can classify Radford.
Yes, I think that's a fair description, Barry. Most of these fights have been fought over the 6th and 8th round limit, or rather number of rounds anyway, scheduled for those number of rounds.
Redford just absorbing a couple of punches there from Duran. That's what he's got to watch, the quick right. Watch your head, says referee Hunt. Two lefts, one to the head and one to the body from Duran. Interesting to see the style. I thought he might be upright, is what you described David Radford, Bert. I think you're right, he is upright. Typical British style of boxing. That's good punches though, good solid punches.
This was a particularly good right hand from Radford. And I was going to say it might take him a round or two to get the message that even living legends can be hurt. Well, he didn't need a round or two. He's got the message already. As I said earlier, this is a great opportunity for this young man. He could make a name for himself instantly if he were to beat Duran.
Listening by the accents in the corner of Radford, I would suggest that they come well up in the north of England, and referee Hunt says just be a little careful.
Yes, that blow certainly was on the belt line, if not below, as we come to the end of the round.
A pretty even round, I think, for everybody concerned there, and that's the way it has to start, I'm afraid. An even round. Duran and Radford sharing the spoils. Radford perhaps just rubbing a part of his anatomy that would make his eyes water. That last one, but that was certainly a little low from Duran.
It was, and I'd say the best punch in that round came from Radford. That was a right cross. let Duran know that he's in this fight. And let's take a look at that in the replay. There it comes. A little high, luckily for Duran, because that punch could have been a match winner for the British boxer.
Duran certainly got a wake-up call there very early, because that was a really solid blow as well. And it slid off the top of the head of Duran. If that had landed fairly and squarely, probably just about the ear, my word, that would have certainly maybe put the lights out.
Well, good to see that Radford has all the right intentions. He hasn't been overawed by Roberto Duran. And certainly after landing that punch, he must be greatly encouraged.
Yes, you've got to think it through when you think that Radford, the telephone call went on Wednesday to say, are you available to fight, as Duran's opponent withdrew, and then they say, who am I fighting? And they say, Roberto Duran. You've got to think twice about even getting on the aircraft, I would think.
Radford's mental approach is going to play a big part in just how well he does now in this fight. And I must say, I like the way he started.
Box and move, David, box and move. See instruction coming from the corner. Box and move, David. That's the way to do it. Don't stand and make yourself a target for Duran, because you take cognizance of the fact which way you're going to move around the ring. If you keep going round to your left, you make note of that and cut it off for you. He's a very experienced, very wily character, 113 fights, 100 victories, 4 world titles. There's a tremendous amount of experience there. Regardless of the age, at 46, people would say he's over the hill. As long as you're fit, as long as you're aware, and as long as you're compos mentis, I don't really see that being too much of a problem.
Well, Duran has already made his intentions clear. He'd like to get on the inside, work the body, obviously try and take the legs away from Radford, and then perhaps go upstairs. Oh, he's going upstairs. They're still attacking the body, you notice. Some of those blows on the belt line. Referee Len Hunt will have to watch that carefully.
Yeah, I think it's the way that Radford defends as well, Bert. He tucks his elbows deep into his solar plexus, and that's very difficult. Sometimes you do find that the punches will slide off the elbows, and they slide downwards towards the belt line, and sometimes below it. But low one from Duran. Little warning, keep it up. Come on now, keep it up. Len Hunt is giving probably a major warning to Duran. Points will be deducted, I'm sure, next time around. And too much of it, disqualification will happen. That will be a tragedy here for the crowd that's assembled to see this legend in action.
Well, it certainly hasn't stopped Duran from attacking the body. The veteran knows that he must take the legs away from this young man, slow him down to a crawl if he can.
These are the sort of fights, Bert, that become more and more difficult to score, aren't they? I mean, it's really a case that you really perhaps should be looking at making it yet another draw, and it's very difficult to separate them, because if anything, you might have just shaded Duran's way, but I'm happy to give it an even thing. Let's make them work for it tonight.
I agree with you, Barry. I've scored it even. And certainly the warning from referee Len Hunt, fair enough, he didn't penalise Duran, but you've got to take that into account.
We get this fight scheduled over 8 rounds. And Duran, probably the man that wants to try and get close in, be a little bit more aggressive towards Radford, and he gets a good left in. And there's the one in, so that's the second one really that caused probably more problems. And a little bit low indeed. The referee perhaps is just keeping a very wary eye on those punches that are so close to the foul line.
Yes, Duran is going to have to watch the direction of those body blows. Lunging in an attempt to reach Radford as Duran, and decides to work from behind the jab.
This is Duran. see him square on, he just holds the gloves chest height. Just stalking now, Radford. But Redford not in awe of Duran. Just does a little showboating to get the crowd on its toes.
That's it, David, that's it.
Well, Radford's corner told him to move, make good use of this ring, and that's good advice. He's a younger man and he should move around. Serves a dual purpose. Might even tire Duran out. He's got to do a lot of movement. But at the moment he's working on the inside, trading with Duran. Being careful to protect his body against those body shots from this living legend.
The longer this fight goes, the more confident Radford seems to become. Although there's some cracking combinations, one into the body and one left that slides off the face of Radford. Be careful of those. He's not in awe of him, and that's good to see. Radford's come to make a fight of it all.
Yes, Redford needs to let his punches go. It's when he starts leaning into Duran in a defensive mode that he gets hit. He's far better off letting his punches go and making good use of the perimeter of the ring, of course.
Younger legs, keep him moving. Going continually clockwise around the ring. Duran just having a little bit of trouble cutting it off. Almost shows Radford that he's probably disinterested in chasing him. But watch that right when he lets it go. He did then, but Radford quick enough to get under it.
Well, Duran never was a fancy damn boxer. He is essentially a fighter. Loves to brawl. And he still hits pretty hard.
Well, the tactics obviously for Radford are to come and to run. And I say run, I mean just keep moving. I don't mean run away, I mean keep moving, throw the punches when you can, and don't let the ring be cut off by Duran. Oh, well, this is one of those fights that are going to be very difficult to break down, I'm afraid. And maybe just a little bit going towards Duran on this occasion. And get that one to Roberto.
Yes, I think he might have edged that, so he was the aggressor for most of the round. And he certainly landed the harder punches.
Refill it up. Okay, listen, Roberto. Good. Good. Watch your head moving. Keep your head moving. You know what I mean? Don't lay in. When we get inside...
Well, the corner has told Duran to cool it, and let's see why in the replay. We've seen badly with that right. Got hit with the right from Radford. And the young man doing rather well in that exchange, I thought, Barry.
Yes, I agree with you, but I think he's come, got caught by that left, but maybe Roberto is just trying to be a little bit too quick with his punches, rather than take them in his stride. In other words, pinpointing, getting the left going, and then sizing Radford up before throwing the big one. Maybe what he's got to try and do. Radford, in the meantime, just keep him moving, and therefore taking the distance between him and Duran to greater lengths and more difficult chances for him to try and land the punch as well.
Yes, I think Duran to give Radford the opportunity to make mistakes, and he surely will, because he's certainly, by comparison, very much the inexperienced novice in this ring. And he doesn't have to put the pressure on Radford that one normally would. I mean, he's just got to wait for Radford to make a mistake and then counter. Those body shots are hurting Radford, no question about that.
Oh, good right. Two good rights, in fact, from Radford. Caught Duran a little flat-footed.
Yes, Duran fortunately rode those punches, took the sting out of them, but they were good shots from the British boxer. Radford doing rather well for a man with his lack of experience. I think most young boxers would be overawed at the prospect of getting in the ring with Roberto Duran. And to his credit, Radford hasn't shown anything like that.
Radford's come with a plan. The plan is just to keep moving, throwing and moving, then unleash one or two, if he can, without exposing himself, which is very, very good tactics indeed by this British boxer. Roberto Duran just cannot quite cut off the ring and likes to maybe get inside as he is now.
Off the jab, David, off the jab.
Good instructions from the Englishman's corner. Fight off the jab. That's good tactics, I think. Proved he's got a good right when he does connect, so maybe the left jab is what he needs to throw more off the Englishman. Meantime, Duran is trying to size him up as well, maybe get inside and be a little bit of more of a roughhouse rather than a boxing match.
Radford quite useful at tying Duran up when they get to close quarters. For a young man with his lack of experience, he's doing rather well close up. He ties up the arms and the gloves of Duran, and that could prove frustrating for the man from Panama.
Yes, I think you're right, Bert. Frustration is beginning to creep in a little bit there. He just can't seem to get hold of the man from England. I want to get another equal round there. 5 point, even round. So this is very tight indeed. Halfway through this 8th rounder, I think there's probably about a point in it, and it would be just in Duran's favour. Not too much in my scorecard anyway.
Very close, I agree with you, Barry. Not much to choose between these two men at this stage.
So this round,
this young man has done remarkably well so far.
Okay, take a breathe. Get shifting. Johnny, let that right hand go when he's there. Alright, son? Brilliant. Only let the right hand go when it's there.
Good instruction, that too. In fact, his corner saying brilliant, and he is doing very well indeed. He's doing exactly what his corner's asking him to do. Fight off the left jab, and only let the right go under instruction. Only when he's ready to let it go, and that's very good. Good instruction, good corner work, that is. As you said earlier, Bert, come here, if someone to say, you're going to fight Roberto Duran, you've got to think about it, haven't you? You've got to think, is the money worth that?
Well, I suspect that Redford has looked at it in a positive light. He sees this as a great opportunity, and it is for a young man. And what he needs to do now, of course, is pick up his work rate, not to get careless, but on our card anyway, he's 1 point behind. And if he does pick up his work rate, who knows, he might start winning rounds.
Yes, I thought that perhaps the answer here, Bert, would be that the longer the fight went, the more Radford would probably come into it. I think he's done well so far, he really has. And Duran certainly knows that he's in a fight.
Well, that one was very, very low, but referee Ben Hunt was unsighted, so didn't see it. I'm afraid Roberto Duran very careless with those body shots.
Hands up, David. Move round the ring, David. That's it, and again. Hands up. Tight hands, David.
Duran just not quick enough to cut off the ring. Good left jab.
Tight hands, David. Tight hands. Hands up, David.
Well, all of a sudden, Roberto Duran out-jabbing the man who we expect to box from behind a left jab, because he's a British boxer with the upright stance, and he was told to work off the left hand anyway. He's done reasonably well, but Duran proving that even he can land with a good jab when he wants.
Hands up.
Well, Duran is certainly doing the chasing at the moment to try and cut the ring off. Radford is making him work. The reactions are still there. It's nice to see the quick jab, the quick crashing jab from Radford, and back goes the head of Duran like that. Just not able to land, just out of range.
There is little wrong with Duran's reflexes. He just pulls back their head to avoid those jabs from Radford. And unfortunately, Radford's work rate has fallen away spectacularly in this round in particular. He's not going to win rounds doing so little, Barry.
He's running, Bert, that's the thing. And I think the running means that he's not using the left jab to come in behind it with the right. And that has to go Duran's way, because even for aggression alone, he has to prove that he was good enough to take that round. So it's interesting. Still tight, still close. As we've now gone well past halfway. Roberto Duran's corner working feverishly.
Listen up. Okay. Now, get low. What you low. Listen to me. You're going to do it right. Put the thing on. Go around that ring, not the fins.
They're the two instructions. Instruction to Roberto Duran was keep low, keep bobbing, keep coming forward. And the Englishman, you've got the fitness, keep running, keep going around that ring. So an equal sort of instructions on how to adapt and move into this round number 6. The Englishman is going to move and continue to move. And it's going to be Roberto Duran who will be trying to bob and weave and cut off his opponent. Let's have a look, see how those instructions are interpreted. Round 6 of a scheduled 8 rounder.
Well, I can understand Redford wanting to work from the outside, but he's got to work, and that means he's got to throw punches. And he threw very few in round 5.
Round the ring. And again. That's the jab, baby. That's the jab. Yeah.
Radford has made very little use of the right hand since the first couple of rounds, which he looked so good throwing the right hand, and I'm a bit surprised about that.
Round the ring. Keep your hands up.
Well, I think the second round he threw some very good rights, and the fourth round he threw some very good rights as well. But I think that was a moment he could perhaps have shaded Duran with off the left jab as he was instructed to, and throw the right when the opportunity arises. Well, he probably thinks the opportunity hasn't arisen yet, but he certainly needs to throw it once or twice to remind the judges that he's in this fight.
Well, he's very much in a defensive mode at the moment, pushing out the odd left hand, and Duran for his part also, you see the exasperation from Duran saying, well, come on, fella, this is a fight. Of course, not everybody wants to play Duran's game.
Duran obviously here as the crowd's favourite. David Radford knows that. And all he's there trying to do at the moment is to take it through the 8 rounds that he's now scheduled, this fight. And also to make sure that he gives a good account of himself. I think he's done that. He's certainly given a good account of himself. There's nothing wrong with that. He's exchanged blows with Roberto Duran. He's landed 1 or 2 superb rights. So there's nothing wrong with that left jab either that he's using at the moment. And he's frustrating the hell out of Roberto Duran.
Yes, the hands of stone, finding it difficult to land on this Englishman.
Box and move, David. Box and move.
Once again, might just have to go Duran's way because not enough aggression being shown by David Radford. Other than that, one can't, I suppose, honestly argue about the decision and the route that he is taking in this fight. Radford a late entry into the fight against this man, Roberto Duran, in Panama City.
That eye swelled up. Move to the side of the eye. You swelled up the eye. Because he can't see. Okay? Okay.
Now, a little swelling under the eye.
Okay? I don't want you. I want you to move. Boxing move.
That
Wait
is
for
the
the
right eye, which means that a couple lefts must have got through.
Yes, it's almost as if Duran has decided, well, you want to play the game of boxing behind the left jab, I can show you whatever you can do, I can do better, and the effects are there. The evidence is certainly there. Round 7, scheduled for 8. And on our card, Duran has certainly moved ahead on points. Nothing spectacular. But then he's up against a man who I think is essentially in the ring now as a survivor. He wants to go 8 rounds and say, well, I did 8 rounds with Roberto Duran.
Yep, that is tactics, I believe. I go along with exactly what you said. I think it's right there, Bert. The crowd's getting a little restless, expecting a little bit more from this encounter. The Englishman's not going to oblige, other than the fact that I'm going to stand up for eight rounds. Duran is the man that is going to have to put 1 or 2 punches in. And referee Hunt said, just try and keep him up a bit. But I don't think that one was as low as some of them have been, funny enough.
Well, some of the others, of course, referee Hunt was unsighted, so he didn't see. Luckily for Duran, he got away with it. But this is a wily old veteran. He'll try anything to try and provoke Radford into a brawl. Hasn't succeeded so far.
Now, as the fight gets longer, the fitness of Radford will be very important, because one doesn't know how much training he's been doing, and certainly whether he's just been doing gym work and not preparing himself for a fight. It's a lot more different than just going into the ring and into the gym and doing road work every day to suddenly being told you've got to fight on whatever the date is. And suddenly, well, here he is 48 hours later in South Africa, fighting against one of the greatest boxers the world has seen. So that in itself is something. He's done well, Redford. He's jabbing well too. Jabbing and moving backwards. And it's really frustrating Duran. And it's only every now and again that Duran says to referee Hunt, not my fault. Oh, a cracking right from Radford. That really was a good punch.
Brought a smile to the British boxer's face as well. I'd like to see more of those right hands from Radford. We saw a few earlier on and they looked rather good. And I think that Radford should be encouraged to throw even more. Duran holds that left hand very low, as you notice, and so he's actually very vulnerable to the right cross.
The style of his over the years, Bert, hasn't it? Where he does hold that low and almost invitingly says, come on, throw it. But when you do throw it, be careful, I've got a right as well.
Yes, there's always a retaliation.
I'm going to score that even. And I'm going to say the reason why is that Radford, I thought, landed a superb right. I think he jabbed well. And Roberto Duran, in frustration, chasing him around the ring. I'll make that an even round.
Yes, Radford certainly landed perhaps the best punch of the round. There's no question about that. You see the swelling beneath the eye of Radford. Have a look at the replay. Those right hands that were traded during the round. Duran's didn't quite land. I got the impression Radford was going back. But Radford certainly did bang on the button. And that was the best punch of the round.
This is an 18 final.
Yes, there's been a little lack of right hands during the course of this fight. And I think if Radford had thrown more of them, might well have found themselves in a position whereby he could well have taken a few rounds off of Duran.
Yes, he might even have caused an upset. But I think perhaps the British camp went into this fight with the notion that if he went 8 rounds with Roberto Duran, well, that was achievement enough.
Yes, you wouldn't probably mind that on your record, would you?
Well, you can imagine him going back to Britain and saying, I went 8 rounds with Roberto Duran, and he'll probably say I should have got the decision. They all do. But in fairness, Duran is ahead on points. This is the 8th and final round. Duran would love to get a clean shot at Radford's chin, but British boxers not going to oblige.
Well, Roberto has certainly been chasing and running after his opponent since round number 2, I would suggest. And Duran says, come on in. Saw that right against you, you think, oh, good right from Duran. Just to remind the British boxer that he's also got a nice crisp punch as well. In the eye of Radford, the right eye of Radford, the cheek, got a nice welt underneath it. And it shows that the left jab has worked.
You have to admire the reflexes of Duran. How's a man 46 going for 47 can still slip punches and compete with a man much, much younger than himself. And that says a great deal for him.
So into the final minute. Duran just needs perhaps a little flash of brilliance to prove to this crowd that he's on the way, maybe, to another big rematch that would certainly bring the boxing world alive. David Radford's done well. It's been the most exciting fight you've ever seen in your life, but it's been one of strategy. It's been one where Radford's come to last 8 rounds against Roberto Duran, and Duran has been frustrated for having to chase Radford around the ring for these past 24 minutes. And I would think Duran will get it on points, but Radford has certainly achieved what he set out to do.
It's a good tactical battle, Gary, and got to take the hat off to Radford, a late substitute. He obviously set his mind on going the distance with this living legend, and well, he's done that. Although Duran, in his frustration, was complaining bitterly. He wants to know why the man didn't want to fight.
Yeah, he's disappointed that perhaps he didn't come to fight, but I think he came to do one thing, and that was to go 8 rounds. He might well have been a spoiled sport, they say. I don't want to come and fight in your backyard, but at the end of the day, you've got to take your hat off to David Radford. He stepped in at the last minute. He got into the ring against a living legend, and Roberto Duran is disappointed.
I'll tell you what, Duran knows how to work the crowd. He's had lots of experience with that, hasn't he?
Doesn't he just?
And I've got to admit, I didn't think Radford was going to go 8 rounds, so yes, he's done rather well. If that's what he set out to do, he's achieved it.
Roberto Duran goes over to Marvin Hagler, who is at ringside, doing the commentary. Wants to say, what was that all about? What am I doing here? He said, I've just been running around this ring trying to chase a bloke for the last half an hour, and at the end of the day, you get the decision.
Well, he's also a little uptight because the fight was cut from 10 rounds to 8.
That's right. He wanted a 10-round fight, and at the end of the day, you got an 8-round fight. The Panama flag and the South African flag fly together in the hands of Roberto Duran. It'll be interesting to hear what the judges have to say about this particular encounter, and it's the British boxer got a smile on his face, He's delighted that he's won 8 rounds with Roberto Duran. And Duran milking it for all it's worth.
Oh, the crowd love this man. And now I think we're going to get the official decision, so it's a question of how the judges voted.
Mark Biro will tell us exactly what the scorecards say. He's the ring announcer tonight on this jumbo cash and carry bill, brought to you through the Cedric Kushner Sports Network. I don't think there'll be any hesitation in the winner going the way of Roberto Duran. Let's find out the details though.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge Al Bukwana scores it 79-74. Judge Jacques Van Urenhuisen scores it 80-73. And Judge Gordon Goba scores it 78-75. All to the winner by unanimous decision, Roberto Duran.